Welcome back to the Lehigh Valley Arts Podcast, where we will explore the local arts culture and community in the Lehigh Valley. We'll be doing this through conversations with individual artists, administrators, and organizations. We'll discuss all types of mediums with the goal of enriching local arts culture. Hello, and welcome back to the Lehigh Valley Arts Podcast. This week, Ben will be interviewing Rachel Peri. Rachel Peri is a lifestyle and portrait photographer, as well as jewelry maker who operates out of the Lehigh Valley. In addition to being an artist, she is the current acting president of ACE, also known as the Arts Community of Easton. ACE was founded in 1999 and incorporated in April 2000 by artists, business owners, art institution representatives, and art lovers seeking an organization for arts education programs, workshops, information dispersal, and networking. Given its proximity to large cities, Easton has been a magnet for artists who are looking for a place to work and live. Since the 1980s, many artists have joined with longtime artists in making Easton their home. ACE's mission is to encourage and promote all the arts, foster an appreciation of the arts, and enrich the quality of life by offering arts involvement, education, and community programming to the Easton area.
Rachel, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I am excited to talk to you. You're a photographer and you are also an arts administrator.
Yes.
Yeah, so you've got dual mentality when it comes to everything relating to the arts, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I want to start with your photography. How long have you been doing photography? How long have you been working on that?
So I actually started photography in high school.
Okay.
So it's been a long time because I just had my 10-year reunion not that long ago.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
But I kind of like did it on and off and stopped for a year or two in between. And then I'm definitely doing it like way more consistently than I used to. It was always kind of just like a hobby on the side.
Sure. I think that's where so many photographers start.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Within the world of photography, do you have a preferred way to shoot, whether that be a specific camera or time of day, etc.?
I really like shooting with Canon. I have tried like Nikon before. I had them like in the early days in high school and I switched over. I don't know if I have a specific way. It's kind of just like how I see it through the lens, I guess. But what I normally photograph in general now is portraits and weddings and stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Talk me through your process for getting a portrait. How do you connect with your subjects? How do you choose what location you want to go with?
Well, I do talk to them a little bit beforehand because I want to get to know like what they're looking for. And then people always laugh at me when I say this. When I'm actually photographing them, I start telling like ridiculous jokes, like try to get them comfortable and laughing. Because people sometimes get really uncomfortable in front of the camera, which I completely understand. I'm like that too sometimes. And I just start spewing off like the most ridiculous jokes. And like they just met me and they're like, what the heck? And they look so like happy and relaxed then in the photos. So like just communicating, I would say, with them, getting them to laugh. So I have a joke where it's like, okay, can you fake laugh for me? And they're like, what? But then they start actually laughing because they're like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my goodness. I have something very similar when I'm working with people where I'll just say something totally off the wall and then be like, well, I know that was funny. Like, come on, you can give me a laugh for that. And then that's what makes them laugh. Well, I noticed in your portraits that you have on Instagram that you have a tendency to use flowers and shoot with a lot of nature in your work.
Yes, I really love vibrant colors.
Okay.
There's
awesome.
something about it, and it really like brings out people's eyes and like your complexion, like so many different things. And it, like, yeah, you've seen a lot of people laying in like flower beds and stuff like that.
Totally.
And I personally just really love flowers.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so.
Do flowers represent something special to you? Do you have a connection with them that goes beyond your photography itself?
So I used to do pressed jewelry with flowers, and I always liked that you could do that because even though the flower has died, you can still kind of like carry that beauty with you.
Totally.
So that's where I feel like that really comes from.
Oh, that's awesome. And that's interesting too, because the colors change when you're doing pressed and dried flowers and work with that. What would you say your current color palette is?
Oh my goodness. I always say, because I had some that are like dark and gloomy.
Yeah.
But then I always go back to like the flowers and the bright. And I've just been kind of sticking with that now. Because like I don't know. I get so torn between the two because I really like the dark and gloomy.
Sure.
But it's not the same with the flowers then. Like all those bright colors and like
totally.
just happy. And especially if it's like maybe weddings. The dark and gloomy looks good though.
It definitely does.
But I do like the bright. I guess I'm still torn.
Well, how do you determine which one you want to shoot in a given session?
People have told me what they want, so that's where I kind of base it on.
Understandable. Given that you do a lot of portrait work, is there anything specific about portraits and the idea and art history of portraits that really draws you to want to capture people in that way?
I've had this question asked before, and my answer has never changed in like a decade. With taking portraits of people, I really want them to see themselves how I see them, which is a beautiful person right in front of me.
Yeah.
And that's always how I viewed it, and I want like them to know like how beautiful they are, no matter like who they are, where they came from. And that's like my whole purpose with
awesome.
Portrait photography.
Totally. When it comes to the outfits that the people in your photos wear, do you assist them with the outfits? Do they pick it totally on their own? How does their outfit choice impact your decisions as the photographer and artist?
A lot of people ask me what they should wear.
Okay.
So I usually assist them, which is okay. Yeah. Obviously, if I'm doing a wedding, that's completely different.
Yeah.
But with a lot of the portraits and stuff like that, the people do ask me what kind of stuff they should wear, which is cool. I had someone who I'm friends with. She went to a thrift store. She sent me a bunch of dresses, like photos, and was like, which one should I get? And I was like, you should definitely get that one. And you've probably seen the pictures. She's wearing a purple dress. She's in Easton, and she's laying in like a bed of purple flowers.
Oh, it's a beautiful photo.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the show, we like to dive into one or two works of yours.
Okay.
And given that this is an auditory program, we like to use a method called audio description. It's typically used for those that are blind or low vision.
Okay.
But in our quest for accessibility in the arts, we thought that an audio program for artists would be a great way to get people used to engaging with it.
Okay.
So I would love to take that photograph, and I'd like to use that because I know we talked about it a little bit earlier.
Okay.
The piece is Untitled by Rachel Peri from 2021. This is a digital photograph, and this photo is of a black model from the chest up, relaxed and lying in a purple flower bed, with her hands gently resting on her forehead. Quartz earrings hang off of her ears, and a natural light illuminates her face and chest. Tell me a little bit about the day of and the prep for this shoot.
We shot in a few different locations. We shot in the circle. Got her a little warmed up. She was fine. She was fine. She did such a good job. When I directed her with different poses and stuff like that. And then towards the end of us shooting, I was like, let's just go over here on like the other side of Easton. It was kind of like out of downtown, I guess, towards like Lafayette. Yeah. And I see these flowers and I'm just like, you have to go in them. Like, this matches your dress, like,
yeah, totally.
So then originally she was sitting in them, and then I'm like, okay, can you lay down and just stay there? And that's how I got that picture. I got awesome. A few different ones in there, but that one I think was the best. It says a lot.
It really does.
Yeah.
And I know you said that this was, you said her first time modeling?
Yeah.
Your ability to direct her into that level of relaxation and comfort in front of the camera is impressive.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I probably told her to fake laugh all before, so she was probably all relaxed then.
Nice.
But yeah, she did a really good job.
Oh,
and I
that's
actually
awesome.
did photos for her multiple times after that.
What did that relationship and direction from your end look like as you continued working with her as a model?
She said she only felt comfortable coming to me. And that really meant a lot.
Yeah.
And I've had that happen multiple times with people, and that speaks volumes, like, and means so much.
Totally.
I really, even though I've known her since I was like 14, I didn't know that side of her. Like maybe how she didn't like being in front of the camera, and now she's like a little more relaxed, and like she came to me again and we did photos a few months ago, and I feel like we kind of both saw a different side of each other because she opened up because she felt comfortable having me photograph her.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How do you handle lighting? Are you using mostly natural light? Are you using
Mostly
reflectors?
natural.
Okay.
Yeah. I've used reflectors here and there, but I like natural light personally.
Totally. Well, I want to talk about some of your other mediums that you work in. I know you mentioned jewelry.
Yes.
Is that something that you're still continuing to practice?
Yes. I actually have a bunch of it on right now.
Oh, that's awesome.
I do these bracelets that are like weaved with thread and leather, and they're glass beads. I do necklaces. I haven't really been like doing much. It's kind of just I've been making them for myself or like as gifts recently.
Yeah.
But other than that, that's pretty much it. But yeah, I used to do the pressed flower necklaces as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What draws you to jewelry specifically?
I don't know. Like I like tedious things.
Okay.
Like I like sewing.
Sure.
And like that's I don't know.
Yeah, something with a
Something
process.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But these take a while to make. Like
I could imagine.
I have the doubles on, and when I first started making them, I had a friend teach me. It took me like 45 minutes for one bracelet,
Oh, man.
which is a lot of time for a bracelet.
That is a long time.
Yeah, but
Wow.
I started getting better, and I was a little quicker, but still.
Understandable. Understandable. What other mediums do you like to work in?
I can sew. When the pandemic happened, I decided that I was just gonna sew a bunch of masks, and I sewed over 500
Oh my gosh.
in my apartment and teamed up with St. Luke's, and it was the funniest thing. I was pumping these masks out, and I would have like these nurses come pick them up, and it was like a whole little like
Oh, that's awesome.
event. Yeah. And I had a lot of people donate, which was awesome, like fabric and thread and stuff.
Well, in addition to being a practicing artist, you are also the president of ACE,
Yes.
which stands for...
Arts Community of Easton.
Nice. Tell me about how you got involved with ACE.
I actually got involved with ACE because of my jewelry. The story is a little long, but one day, this was in like 2016, I think it was.
Okay.
I used to go to Easton by myself a lot, and I would go to the farmer's market, and I would go pick up like the flower bouquets.
Yeah.
Sometimes the dried ones are like regular, and I would go there like every other weekend. And the one day there was like no parking, and I had to park on 2nd Street. And I parked in front of this store, and then I looked in it from like the street, and I was like, ooh, this looks really cool. Like it had a bunch of different like art and like yarn and stuff like that. Yeah. So when I came back, I walked in there, and the woman that owned it, she was like painting a cabinet, and I'm like, how does someone like get their stuff in here? Yeah. I was like, I have jewelry. I'm a photographer. Like what? Well, first I introduced myself, obviously, but
Sure.
And so she told me her process, and then she told me about ACE, and she told me about the Riverside Arts Festival. So I did that festival that year with my photography in her little shop. Okay. And then her and I actually became really good friends, and I just stayed an ACE member for a little while. And then I guess I could get into how I became president.
Yeah.
So around when COVID started, ACE, I would always get ACE's emails and stuff like that. And I saw they no longer had a president. And when you don't have a president, or maybe you don't have enough board members and stuff like that, things can't run the way that they should.
Yeah.
Same with anything.
Sure.
So I told them I wanted to be president. So everybody voted on it, and then I got voted in.
Nice.
And then I got reelected for this year, so this is my second year doing it now.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. What are some of your responsibilities as president?
So I do help with the exhibitions that are going on, and even the smaller exhibits we have. I also help finding like new locations and galleries for us to hang, like for the artists to hang in.
Yeah.
I also host the members meetings every month. So tomorrow is our members meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What would you say the benefits to joining a community like ACE are?
Definitely the networking and like getting to know different artists and different events that are going on. And being involved with the different like exhibitions and arts tours. I would say that's like the number one thing. It really, the networking like really helps a lot of people, and like getting to know different artists, and like, oh my goodness, there's so many things I learned about art that I'm like, I had no idea people like made this type of art, or like what the process was and stuff like that. Which has made me be able to have conversations with like other people in different states and learn more and like get them involved. Like, it's a really good community to be in.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, for those that want to help facilitate an arts community, what's a tip that you would give to them?
Come talk to me. No.
You heard it here first.
Seriously, shoot me a message. That's what I've been telling people. I'm like, send me a message. I'm not scary. Really, don't be afraid to reach out to like any... if you see artwork on a wall and you're interested and you want to be involved, ask the owner, how'd that get there?
Yeah.
If the artist's there, talk to the artist. Like, my number one thing is always networking. Like, I met so many amazing artists from Hannah, from her gallery, and her having different people that she networked with to get in there.
Yeah, that's Hannah from Hemlock, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
In the past, there's been a public perception that you have to be in Easton to be a part of ACE. Is that true?
No, you don't. No. I mean, I joined ACE and I was living in New Jersey still, which was right over the border. Sure. But yeah, you don't have to live in Easton to be a part of it. You could be in the Lehigh Valley, anywhere in the Lehigh Valley. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. When it comes to your community meetings and your member meetings, what does one typically look like? What can you find if you walk into one?
Well, tomorrow is actually going to be a sit and sketch. So we're going to have a model and you're going to come over and there's going to be paper, pencils, charcoal, and we're just going to kind of like go over like new announcements and stuff like that, introduce ourselves, and then we're just going to draw.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How many different mediums would you say are represented through ACE?
Oh, gosh. All of them?
Anything and everything?
Literally.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't even know how many. There's some that I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize you could do that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What would you say a few things that being part of ACE has taught you as an artist?
It really has taught me, like, with the different mediums, how to view things and view things in a different way. Like, I want to be able to understand where the artist is coming from when they're making their artwork. there's artwork that I've looked at and I'm like, I feel like I know this person.
Yeah.
But that could just be my like personal experience with that artwork.
Sure.
But I feel like the artwork really speaks a lot. And like you can see with the artwork how much dedication and time and like heart the artist has put into it.
Yeah. Has there been a specific medium that you would generally say you weren't a huge fan of or didn't particularly connect to, but through your exposure to it in ACE, you've either warmed up to it or have learned to appreciate the artistry that goes into it?
There's so many different kinds that I've seen. It's like crazy. It's amazing now. Like even just like crocheted like things made of like just so many different things. But I would say sculptures. I was always photography.
Sure.
And like did painting, drawing here and there, but like never really into like sculpting or anything like that. That really speaks volumes. The sculptures. Like I went to the Hunterdon art tour.
Yeah.
Which was the other weekend. And I went to this amazing place and it was all these sculptures and like it was like 1,000 words just looking at them. Like I was amazed. Yeah. They had these, it was like from the shoulders up and it was these faces, but they had like antlers on them. And it was very like, to me, it was very like mystical. But it said a lot because all of the faces had a different expression on them.
Fascinating.
Yeah. So they were all kind of like in a different mood.
Yeah.
Which was very interesting to me.
That is super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm glad you said sculptures because sculptures are one that I think a lot of those uninitiated to the art scene have a really hard time with. Bringing in that 3D element and trying to understand how environment plays into the reading of a piece is something that a lot of people have trouble with and a lot of people have trouble thinking through in the first place or to even go that direction with their thought process.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, if you're viewing a giant thing open in a park, it's like, oh, how does the park and being in the park influence my read of this right now? How do I see past it's just a big steel sculpture to this is a steel sculpture with its own shadows that are being thrown across the ground from being in this location? Being around it, were there any actionable steps that you took in further understanding sculpture?
So I really like mini brands and mini artwork.
Yeah.
And I had this mini greenhouse I was working on. And I actually just ordered a mini house, which I guess could be a sculpture type thing if you view it that way.
Sure.
But I'm going to be redoing things in it. And I'm going to turn it into a piece of art, but that's all I will leave you with.
Oh, that's awesome.
I don't know how long it'll take me. So. But I'm going to be working on that, so there will be, I guess, sculpture type stuff involved with it.
Oh, that's very cool. Yeah, I'm excited to see how that turns out. I love mini works as well.
Oh my gosh,
Have you, when Hannah was on, she was talking about her...
Mini pottery?
Yeah, her mini pottery.
It's so
and
cute.
the irony of calling it functional ware while it being at an almost unfunctional size.
Yeah.
While being built from the ground up to be functional.
Yeah.
And oh my goodness. What I love with mini works is seeing all of the thought put into every millimeter of the piece. And I'm curious what draws you to the pieces.
Well, I don't know why this started, but I started getting mini brands, but that was not the thing. I always like smaller artwork, I guess. And then there's actually some ACE members that they do mini artwork, and that's what they kind of like, that's their thing.
Sure.
It's the intricateness for me.
Totally.
Because we have one artist. She's amazing. I have a few of her pieces, and she does a lot of like landscapes. And they are so small. I'm like, how does she... And they're watercolor.
Sure.
And I'm like, how is she doing that? Like, I'm telling you, like a full, like, there's a barn, there's like a field, there's a fence, a house, like a whole thing. And it's on like a tiny, like the tiniest thing.
Oh my goodness.
It's amazing.
Oh, that's awesome.
I guess I'm very impressed with people that can like work with something that small.
Yeah. And who is the artist that you're talking about?
Marianne Riker.
If you had to shout out few artists here on the show today.
Oh my goodness, I have so many. Definitely Janet Rockware. She is on the board. She works with resin.
Okay.
Super cool. She's in the Townley House right now showing.
Oh, awesome.
And in the Easton Public Market. There's so many artists. I would want to shout them all out. That'd be a long list.
How can people find Ace on Instagram?
So Ace is ACE.Arts Community of Easton.
Awesome. And people will find announcements and such on there?
Yes. So we'll have announcements for our members meeting. And then we also run a program called the ACE Social Spotlight. So a different artist is featured monthly on there, and you kind of like learn about them. You get to see their artwork, and also they will post video processes of like their artwork and stuff like that, which is pretty cool because you kind of like not everybody gets to see like the process that they're going through with their artwork.
Awesome.
And then different exhibits and shows.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Where can people find your work?
So I'm mostly on Instagram.
Nothing wrong with that.
I have a Facebook page for my photography, but I just started it not that long ago. Okay. I would say on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you have a personal account and a photography account, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And what are both of those account names?
So the personal one is ROCHPERI. It's a name from high school that I've had. People always think my name is Rochelle, like, because it's ROCH. I'm like, no, that's not my name.
Yeah.
And then my photography one is just Rachel Peri Photo on Instagram.
Awesome. When people are following you on those, what can they expect to see from you?
A lot of art.
Yeah.
Art stuff. And message me, like, if you have questions about art or the arts community, like, do not be afraid to shoot me a message.
For sure. Well, Rachel, thank you so much for coming on. It was a pleasure talking with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Artists of all mediums are welcome, as is anyone who would like to support the arts. ACE monthly meetings are open to the public. You do not need to be an ACE member to attend. ACE is a membership-driven organization, and there are numerous ways to contribute to and benefit from participation. As an ACE member, you will receive multiple opportunities to exhibit work, receive discounts, and more. Become an active member of ACE and help lift and encourage our community through the power of the arts. ACE offers individual family and student memberships that offer benefits such as participation in meetings and events, marketing and network resources, special exhibition opportunities and announcements, and more. Thanks for tuning in to the Lehigh Valley Arts Podcast, a Steel Pixel original series. Don't forget to like the podcast, leave us a review, and follow us on both social media and streaming services at Lehigh Valley Arts Podcast.